Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Jordan and today I'm here to talk about Little Fires Everywhere, the book. I just finished reading the book maybe a few days ago and I was like, let me come on here. I'm sure you guys have seen Little Fires Everywhere due to the Hulu original series that has been adapted with Reese Witherspoon and I was about to say Olivia Pope. Oh my gosh, how did my mind do that? Kerry Washington. I am so sorry. Okay, so that is actually what had me actually read the book, I think, because I have checked this book out. I checked this book out twice in the library and never read it. And I mean, I'm talking about like over a year ago. So I had no intention of reading this book. But then everyone keeps talking about Little Fires Everywhere, the series on Hulu. And I'm like, let me go ahead and read the book. And then I'll go ahead and, give the show a watch. So I really wanted to finish the book before I watched the show. And that's really the only motivating factor as to why I finally did the plug. It's funny because I know Olivia and Rachel, they both had read the book and were watching the show. And I was even like, no, I have no intention of reading this. You can spoil away. Luckily, neither of them did spoil because I am now actually going to be watching the series. But let's talk about the book because I wanted to talk about the book and then compare my thoughts with the book to the series once I actually watch that. So maybe later on there'll be like a vlog of the book versus the movie. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Because I plan right once I got this up, I'm going to start watching it. Okay, so Little Fires Everywhere, for those of you who are not aware or familiar, the book is about two families from different social economic backgrounds and different family makeups, who basically become a part of one another's lives, and then all this other craziness happens, and it's not even craziness, it's just somehow they're just all too involved into each other's lives. Like the lives just get mingled. The book really centers around two mothers, which is Mia and Alina, and really their children. So Mia is a single mother raising her daughter. They move around a lot. She's an artist. They're never really in a spot for too long for either of them to form real attachments. Inserts Alina. Alina is pretty much like I don't want to say a Stepford wife, but she's like a cookie cutter wife where she hardly gains weight even after having all these children. And she's just like in this perfect town. And she wants to do the best for everybody. Like in her head, she's just this good mother who wants to give back and be that good, ideal wife, mother person. And she has these children and a husband who, honestly, the husband's not really around. She honestly a single mother herself, if we gonna keep it all the way real as far as the book is concerned. It's like, where is homeboy? Homeboy comes in and out every now and again, and that's about it. But that's besides the point. Mia starts renting from the Richardson's family. And the Richardson, they're like upper middle class, and they have like they're set. The property that they're renting out is really a duplex, but because Shakers, or the place that they live, is like this kind of its own little society, they actually have it structured in a way where you don't even really know that this is kind of like you're not really in the upper middle class neighborhood. It gives the appearance of even the duplex area looking like it's part of a really nice neighborhood. So basically, me is able to rent there for $300, which I'm like, when was this? Aha! The book is set in the 90s. So I forgot to mention that. The book is set in the 90s, which I think is kind of cool, but it really doesn't come into play too much. The only times I really think about that is really when they mention certain TV shows, or when they like just won't call each other on cell phones. I'm like, bruh, just call the person. Like, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're in the 90s. You can't really do that. But anyways, Yeah, that's really the gist of the book. The book itself, Little Fires Everywhere, it really starts off with this fire. And everybody suspects it's Izzy who put out the fire, which is one of the daughters, the black sheep of the family. The one who actually, to me, is most like Alina, who just gets in everybody's business and is trying to figure things out and believes that they hold that moral compass of what's good, what's bad, and they like are deciphering things. So that was kind of ironic to me, like that she's so much like her mother. Um, but anyways, as I talk through this and just think about it, the book actually is pretty, I don't want to say it's pretty pointless, but as you're reading the book, like for me, the book, something about the book keeps you engaged, at least via audio. Via audio, I was very engaged in the book, but nothing was really happening. That's why I can tell that I might like the show, because I tend to like shows or series like that, where it's like, I guess that's what they call just domestic fiction, but where there's not really too much going on, and the stuff that is going on is really not that deep. Really, the mystery in this book lies around Mia's character. You want to know about her past. Like, who is Pearl, which is Mia's daughter? Who is the father? You're trying to figure out, why is it that they move around so much? Why is there so many holes in the stories? And then there comes up a case, while these two families are having it, a case of an adoption of a Chinese American kid. And it turns out like the adoption's a little sketch. And there's this whole big trial surrounding that adoption. And because of that, questions, while I was reading, at least questions in my mind were raising around Mia and how did you obtain this child, Pearl? Like, what's going on over here, you know? So without giving anything away, because nothing I gave away, like nothing I talked about is giving away any of the plot. Like all of this is literally how they describe. I think that's all the information that I got, even from the audiobook description. But that's really all that really happens in the book. Other things develop and you do find out, about Mia's past. You do find out the status of the case. You do learn more about the different Richardson kids. And yeah, it's something where it's engaging in that sense. I actually think, I don't know if I gave it 2 or 3 stars on Goodreads. I finished the book, so obviously I don't finish books if I don't care for it, because I was invested to see how it turns out. But by the end of the book, I'm like, wow, I spent all this time listening. Like, I think I finished the book in like 2.5 days. And I'm like, I spent all this time, and you mean to tell me this is how this ends? Like, the way the story ended for me was like, it was almost like, why did I really read this? Now that I talked about the gist of the book, this is just like a 1-minute blurb of the random thoughts that I just have to get out that I want to know. One, how much is $10,000? Like, at this point in time, how much is $10,000? Because there's no way I would do, well, I'm not saying there's just no way I would do what Mia did for $10,000. Like, I'm like, $10,000, that is nothing. Not that that's nothing. That's a lot of money, but for all that you had to go through, that's just too much. Other thoughts that went through my head while I was reading the book was, with Lexi, like, bruh, like, where are we going here? Because it's like with Lexi, it's like y'all introduced these different aspects into Lexi's life, and it's like it just never panned out for me. Like, it just never panned out. Moody irked me. Like, Moody was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, if you are not one of the most entitled people that I know, like the fact that Moody almost felt like Pearl owed him to like him, it was just hella annoying. And I just wanted, what I wanted for Mia and Pearl was for them to get the hell away from the Richardsons. I was like, I don't need y'all anywhere near these kids or these people. Like, I just need y'all away from them, because I found myself like with Moody and Pearl, I did not like their friendship, in the sense of, I liked their friendship, but I didn't like the expectations that came with the friendship from Moody's side. It almost felt like he claimed her, like he owned her, in the sense of she wasn't allowed to, like, and I was just like, ugh, I don't like that dynamic. And he's just one of the most entitled people. I do like some of the areas of how they played with the case, as to it was a very interesting and tough dynamic within that case. I like how they showed both sides of the things. How on one side, it wasn't a clear-cut answer as to who the child should have gone with, because of the stuff that were brought up. What I really did like, some of the points in the story that I did like, was when someone says they're exposing you, they're going to learn about someone's culture, and all they talk about is the food. And it's not even really the food. It's like one random, in this case, Chinese restaurant that you was talking about you took your kid to. That's not exposing your child to crap or nothing. So it's like, but that's literally how people be thinking. They be like, oh no, I want to learn more about the culture. I'm trying to learn more. Those egg rolls though, like stuff like that is like, what? It's not even okay. Like, and that happens so much. Like, anytime someone's saying that and it's just like you're doing those shallow things, it's a red flag. That was kind of comical in a sense where it was horrible but comical. And also talking about the Barbies, I liked that aspect of it, because growing up, thankfully, I always had black Barbies, and like my Barbies ranged from like, I had a white doll, a white Cabbage Patch doll. And it's funny because I used to say she was light skinned. Her name was Moesha, which tells you the era that I grew up in for me to name my Cabbage Patch baby Moesha. Mo to the E to the Moesha. Anyways, Moesha's hair was always laid. I always was doing her hair, braiding it up and stuff. But that's besides the point. The point of the matter is having that range. When you grow in certain households, luckily they always make sure that you see yourself. But from that standpoint, when they're saying, there weren't even Asian Barbie dolls, like they had one at that time. Pearl to me was one of the most missed opportunity characters, because I felt like I wanted to see so much from her where there could have been so much, but it was literally like she was defined based on all her relationships to other people, whether it was to Mia, to her mother, whether it's to Moody. It's how Moody feels about her. It's how Mia feels about her. It's how Lexi feels about her. It's like everything about Pearl was in a relationship to someone else. We never really got to know Pearl. So, yeah. Anyways, all in all, those are my thoughts on the book. I gave the book, I think, 2.5. Like I said, 3 stars. Like, okay, good. Would I recommend it? I mean, while we're in, social distancing, quarantining, it's on audio. I finished the audio in 2 days. I wouldn't finish a book that fast if I wasn't engaged. I was definitely engaged. It's just by the end of the story, the way the book ended, it kind of made me feel like, if it had a strong ending, it would have easily been like 3.5 or more stars, probably, if there was some type of resolution. But the way it just left me like that, I was just kind of like, I say all this and I'm like, I want to see the show. So take that with a grain of salt. Basically, take my numeric rating with a grain of salt, because I'm definitely watching the series now that I finished the book. Love to hear y'all thoughts. Did y'all like the book? Do y'all disagree with the stuff I was saying? Do y'all agree? Let's talk below and keep up with me, because I'm going to be watching the show, y'all. All right, bye.